when you're writing about these contemptible characters, such as the Reverend or Agnes's father, and to a lesser extent Agnes's mother, I'm able to feel a bit of sympathy for Agnes' mother, who appears she's literally at one point eating herself to death. She's just dying away in a bed, but at the same time, like, get up,
Yeah.
do something. But when you're writing about these contemptible people, and there's a little bit of humor. One of my favorite phrases is Beth has been given a gift and she threw her arms around his neck. Is it from Walmart? She gasped at the delicious forbiddenness of it. The cosmetics aisle, which I could totally see a bumpkin like the folks where I grew up. I might have said that at a certain point. Oh my God, from the Walmart, how special. How do you tread that line where we want to have a bit of humor, but you don't want to mock your subject and you don't want to have just open contempt for them, though they are indeed contemptible?
That's a tricky one. And that was definitely something that was tough to work through with Agnes. Like, my editor's notes were often, oh, they're feeling very stock villain, because sometimes, when we're thinking about terrible things that happen or people who do terrible things, just the easiest and least troubling thing to do is to reach for that stock villain shelf. And occasionally I have a stock villain in Agnes, like my sort of my big bad in there is more stock than the rest. For the sake of the story, that can be okay, but that's not really confronting, like, well, what makes people go bad and what is badness really like? And how are we maybe implicated in it when we don't realize it? Like how, these people are still human. Like what is a way to give them their humanity while still recognizing that the things that they do are really can be evil and twisted and wrong. And one of the things that I lean on is this idea of like just generational trauma, that none of these people were born in a vacuum. Like they, have these lines in the book that go deep back to the founding of Red Creek, which is the sort of culty town that I made up that it's set in. And, even farther back than that. And it's the idea that they didn't create themselves, that there were also external forces and pressures for them that could squeeze them into one shape or another. There's no sort of inherent easy evil, or at least I didn't try to make it that way. At work in Agnes, there's not so much of an idea of a devil. It's really what happens when human beings take a hard wrong turn, and not just once and not just twice, but for hundreds of years, if you count what's been passed down to them. And that's how I think we really get the people that we might think of as really monsters today. It's not, it didn't, couldn't even happen in one lifespan. You're talking about the pressures of hundreds of years.
Got you.
I don't know if that's helpful. Yeah. As from a craft perspective, it's just respecting every character, and trying to see things from their side. For instance, in Agnes, and I don't know if this is as much a spoiler. I guess maybe I won't say like which character, but one character is able to leave the cult and one character isn't. But it doesn't drop along lines of like, well, one character was good and brave and the other character was just a bad character or weak character. There are complex circumstances that sort of lead to that. And there is also something to be said for like the writer. Every character you write is some echo of a part of you. And even the evil characters, if you're really in touch with them, like that's coming from something that you understand and too. So you just try not to reach for that stock villain shelf and do your best. It's hard.
I mean, we're all humans. There's always going to be some selfish impulse that even if we don't act on it, we understand why somebody might want to. And you can imagine, the different Breaking Bad type scenario that would have to get you from a nice teacher to a meth dealer. There's something that could happen to all of us that could make us a little bit more villainous than we're at, I think. But I don't know. Maybe that's how villains get a pass. It's too much empathy.
It's true. That's so true. We don't want to give villains a pass, but I do think that it's always better and more fruitful to look at like villainous systems than villainous individuals. Like, because we don't want to just keep creating villainous individuals. We want to like look at, well, what's really going on here is maybe the more sort of important question sometimes.